Well, good morning. It's day 3 of breaking the juice feast, and as you can see, I'm going for a little run today. Feels really good. It's a beautiful morning. The fog is simply gorgeous. And I was inspired for physical activity by my very dear friend Alexis. And if you ever want to check out her blog, she has a great one on walking and exercise, so you want to check that out. It's a really good blog. But like I said, it's a beautiful morning. It's absolutely gorgeous here. And I'm going to run for a bit and get the juices flowing. Okay, if we could stop here for a minute. There's something I'd like to show you here on the roadside. So if we could feast our eyes downward. What we have here, believe it or not, is miner's lettuce. And I learned from Victoria Botenko over at Raw Spirit 2007 during one of her really fantastic lectures that miner's lettuce is very high in vitamin C, and it's called miner's lettuce because it actually prevented the miners from getting scurvy, and it is very good for you. And not too far off from that, we got lamb's quarters over here, and the roadside is simply lined with lamb's quarters as we learned earlier. And there are a few weeds out there that are quite toxic. And even with my limited botanical knowledge, I can pick out some of the stuff already that is quite edible. And it's amazing what it says in the Bible that God won't let a sparrow starve, and how much more He'll do for us as human beings. And I like the sound of that because that is very true. And it's ironic that there are many people out there holding cardboard signs on roadsides that say they will work for food, when in reality, just a few feet away, the best food on the planet is growing fresh from the ground. And that is quite ironic. So I just like to point that out. And it's wonderful to see that food out there. And thank you, Victoria Botenko, for that nice piece of information. Could we have a hand for Miss Victoria Botenko on the miner's lettuce? Thank you, Victoria. Oh. Okay, back we go. Oh, wow. This feels great. Well, this morning, I started the fruit phase of my juice feast, and I had a lot of watery fruits such as the mangoes and the pineapples and the apples and the strawberries and the blueberries. And it was absolutely wonderful, and I was just inspired to go out and run today. And that's what we're going to do. And this late afternoon, I'm going to have another meal, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun with it. And it's a recipe I was dreaming about while I was on the juice feast, and I don't think anyone's ever tried it, but I want to really make it interesting, and it's going to be a big surprise. So we'll get to that next. In the meantime, I'm going to enjoy my run, and I'll see you at supper time. Goodbye for now. Well, here we are, fresh out of the kitchen. This is what I call the royal court. This is goji berries, durian, mangosteen, jackfruit, and blueberries. Here we are. Absolutely wonderful. I can get used to this. Wonderful. Well, normally I don't have something this extravagant for a fruit salad, but it was mainly a reward for completing the juice feast, and I wanted to spoil myself. So I spoiled myself, and I gotta tell you, it was delicious. As for the lamb's quarters, I wasn't entirely correct about them being 6 feet tall. They were actually 8 feet tall. They got to be 8 feet tall. And as you can see, I haven't really run out of it. For all I know, they're still growing. And as I drift off to sleep, perchance to dream, I can kind of imagine what it would be like to be Jack climbing that beanstalk, or in my case, climbing that lamb's quarters, exploring new kingdoms, exploring new worlds. It's a fun notion. And I often wonder what's the most valuable kingdom, the most valuable place on this world, on our world. Could it be the diamond mines of Africa? Fort Knox? Actually, I think it's the cemeteries. And I know that sounds very strange, but when you think about it, here lies dynasties that never happened, dreams that never took place, adventures that were never traveled. Unfortunately, many of them were cut short because of poor choices. And the power to have the choice, especially the choice to be healthy, is very, very valuable, and we should never take that for granted. Now, whether or not you try the juice feast, that's great. But we have the choice to be as healthy as we can be, and that's a wonderful gift. You know, I heard of a billionaire who died all too soon in a hospital. He was trying so desperately to get back what many of us have taken for granted, and that is simply to have great health. Because many of us, we have our arms, we have our legs, and we can get up every morning and we can walk, and many of us aren't in pain. But that billionaire, he had it all, or so it would seem. And he would have given it all to get back what many of us already have. Good night.